Hey, everybody. This is Morry Zelkovich, and I'm hoping you can hear me. Uh, okay, so is there anybody there who can hear me? Can you say, "Yay, Morry, I hear you," or something to that effect? That way I know you can hear me. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Please, someone say that they can hear me. Pretty please. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Hi, Mark. Hi, Pitchfork. Hi, I can't pronounce that name. Matt, Mark. Okay, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so I apologize for it being a minute or four late here. The reason for me being late was because YouTube has changed how their live works, and I wasn't able to actually figure out how to go live until just now. So I appreciate your patience. VW Can or Gan, nice to see you here. Robert, nice to see you. Mark, Matt, everybody. So let me tell you a little bit about this little get together. This is supposed to be a monthly thing. Unfortunately, I've been in the lab a lot lately, so I haven't done one of these in a few months. But I'm here for you. So I don't really have any content prepared. I'm here to answer any questions, comments, or concerns that you folks might have. So use the nice little text area, the little chat area, the live chat. So you can type out your questions, comments, or concerns, and I will be more than happy to let you know what I think, what my opinions are, what my ideas are. Generally speaking, we are going to talk about anything you want. The only thing I won't talk about, or I try to stay away from anyway, is the products of other people. So I'll talk about pretty much anything else that you folks want to talk about. So let's see if we have any questions. Okay, well, we have no questions, so thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye. Okay. I'll give you some time to type out some questions. How's that? Okay. If I could sing, I would sing a few notes. But please remember that I am here for you. So I will stick around as long as is necessary. But if there are no questions, this will be the very quickest of all time. So if there anybody out there who has any questions, maybe you can just hit enter partway through your question so I know that there's something out there and I'll stick around. This is a customer service call and appreciation call. That's why I'm here, to help you with anything that you may want to ask or know about. So, is there anybody out there with a question? That is the question. Well, here, I'll answer one question that I think will probably be there anyway, or it may not be there now, but it'll be in somebody's mind. One of the reasons why I'm holding this at Captain Freedom, I like the name, no problem, and I'm glad you can hear me. So, one of the questions is why I'm holding this so early. And one of the reasons why I'm holding this so early is that I figure most people are at home anyway, and I wanted to give an opportunity for my European subscribers to be able to show up without having to be up at 2 a.m. Ordinarily, I would hold these at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that explains that. Let's see. Matt would like me to explain scalar. Matt, I'd love to, but it has nothing to do with my work, so I'm not going to bother. I have no way of producing. I haven't found any benefit to adding scalar wave technology to my recordings. As such, I don't add it. As such, there's no point in me really explaining it. I'm sorry if that doesn't help you, but you can go on to Google and just type away what is scalar energy, how can it be applied, et cetera, et cetera. I know that there's a lot of people out there who like scalar energy. They talk about it a lot. There's a lot of people out there who talk about a lot of things that don't have any relevance to what I do, or at least they may have benefits. I'm certainly not going to poo-poo that. It may have benefits, but I haven't found in my testing any benefits with respect to scalar energy and my brainwave entrainment systems. It doesn't make them better. It doesn't make them worse. It makes no measurable difference at all, as a matter of fact. Okay, I see that we're getting some questions in, which is good because I much prefer not to have a 3-minute call. So let's go on to Pitchfork. Ideally, how many times a day should you use your triliminal programs? Okay, I have found in general with most of my work, to be honest, the magic number is 3 times a day. I can tell you that I listen to my recordings 3 times a day. Usually that includes one triliminal, one brainwave entrainment only recording, and then a series of either the VI recordings and or others. Now that doesn't include Good Night Sleep Well. Good Night Sleep Well doesn't count as a listening circumstance because you put it on when you go to sleep. So you're not doing anything anyway. So I would say 3 times of specific listening. That doesn't mean listening to 3 recordings in a row does you the same amount of good as spreading them out one at a time over the day. I think you get better results spreading them out over the day. By the way, for those of you who are listening and watching the VI recordings from my newer Quantum Mind version, Quantum Mind method, I mentioned in the instructions to watch/listen 5 times a day. That doesn't mean to watch, 5 videos in a row. Each listening segment, in other words, let's say you listen to 3 recordings and watch 3 recordings at the same time, that counts as one listening. These things work better if you spread them out as opposed to compile them all together into one listening time. Okay, Donald Cooper, is there any way we start using the triliminals? Donald, maybe you can clarify what you mean by that. I'm kind of uncertain as to what you mean by starting to listen. The best way to listen to any of my recordings, with the exception of subliminals or brain prints, is with your eyes closed, laying down or sitting with head support at a comfortable volume. Usually that means conversational, and with ordinary stereo headphones, not earbuds, headphones. And if anyone wants to know why earbuds are a no-no, you can ask, and we'll add that to the repertoire for today. Matt was curious as to the scalar waves, and that's why he asked. Well, that's fine. But again, I haven't found any benefit whatsoever to the brainwave entrainment. That doesn't mean scalar activity or scalar waves don't provide a benefit. I just haven't found any myself. Okay, Captain Freedom's name is Chris. Hey, Chris. I forgot to ask the other week, but was just curious what products you can use directly after one another without a half-hour gap. Generally speaking, if you're listening to a brainwave entrainment only recording, so that's something where you're going to hear the shh and the ba sounds, those are best to leave a half-hour gap. If you listen to a brainwave entrainment recording with talking, for instance, a guided hypnosis, a meditation like the whole brain gratitude meditation or the emotive brainwave hypnosis, or even triliminals, then you don't really have to leave as long a pause. And understand, pardon me, please understand that the pause is more there for newbies. So people who haven't been listening for more than a month regularly. That doesn't mean if you've been using my products for years, but you never use them regularly, that you qualify out of this. You don't. For people who listen every day, at least once for a couple of months, that's what they should do, a break. For those of you who are listening regularly, you can use your intuition. It's always best to listen, like I said, at least 2 or 3 times a day. That doesn't mean 2 or 3 recordings a day. That means 2 or 3 times a day. So if you're going to listen to 2 recordings, one after the other, then that means you've listened once and you need to listen at least again. So if you can listen actually to 6 recordings and only be listening 3 times. You could listen to 10 recordings and only be listening once. But in my internal research, I have found that it's much better if you actually were to use the recordings and put spaces in between. I imagine you could use a triliminal or VI directly after a brainwave entrainment program. I would still leave a break, but yeah, you could. I would leave not as long a break. but I still would. If you wanted to listen or watch a Vi or a Triliminal and then do a brainwave and trim recording, that would be a better way rather than doing the brainwave and trim it and not having the break and then going right into the Vi or, the Triliminal. That would be much better. Raymond, welcome. It seems like the volume on my headset is much stronger on one side than the other. Can I just flip the headset halfway through? Well, you can actually. That's interesting. But cheers from Chris. Thank you, Chris. Actually, Raymond, you can flip the headphones if you want to experiment, but I don't really see a point to that. That might be an ear issue. It also might be something I'm doing on purpose because sometimes I make certain recordings louder on one side than the other, especially in the triliminals. If you're doing something like say, the Quantum Confidence main recording, or you're doing Eden Energy, you're much better off not flipping the headphones because there's specific frequencies being sent to different parts of the brain through something called a stereo field technique. And if you flip the headphones, my ability to directionally locate the frequencies is screwed up. That being said, if you are a regular listener and if you have a fair amount of experience and if you're comfortable and if you're inspired, you can try flipping the headphones around not while you're listening, but next time you listen, just to see and just to change things up a little bit. So I see we're starting to get people typing, which is really, really good. We've been out here about 11 and a half minutes, and I'd like this to go at least half an hour, preferably longer. I have much more energy and time dedicated to this. I never go away if there's questions, by the way. So as long as you're out there, as long as you have questions, it's my pleasure to be here for you. So let's see here. Okay. Lucy, I signed up and downloaded one program to my phone, but I can't find it or other ones to download. Okay. When you say you signed up and downloaded one program to your phone, now I'm assuming you mean iPhone because it says to my space phone, but can't find it or other ones to download. I'm not sure what you mean by other ones to download. I do have a whole bunch of other products that if you want, you can email me kind of like what you're looking for as far as what you want to accomplish, and I can send you some links that you can check out other products. As far as the system you downloaded to your iPhone, how did you do that? Can you get back to me, Lucy, and let me know? Here is fine. Did you use iTunes? Did you download it to your computer and then use iTunes? Tell me exactly what you did, because my suspicion is Apple makes things really easy if you do everything through Apple, but I cannot sell my products through Apple for many reasons. One of them is actually because they convert and screw around with all audio. They change it all to their own format, and by doing that, they screw up my recordings. So if you're going to put it on your iPhone, there's only limited ways to do it. You can either do it by downloading it to a computer and then using I guess it's called iTunes on the computer to synchronize it to your phone, or you can sign up for a free Google Drive account. Again, go to your computer go to your computer and then just load Google Drive into your browser, copy the files or drag and drop the files into Google Drive, and then use the app on your phone to play the recordings. Best to save them to your phone. There's an option there with either 3 dots or lines that allows you to actually save the recordings to your phone. It's always better to do that than to stream them. So anyway, Lucy, get back to me and let me know here exactly what you did. My suspicion is you didn't really download them to your iPhone, and that's why you can't find them now. You probably streamed them the first time and you thought you downloaded them. Again, iPhone is a bit of a fallacy. They kind of their sales pitch is all about how wonderfully easy they are. And in reality, I used to be a massive Apple fan. You can probably hear in my voice. not an iPhone. So, and I used to wait in line for iPhones. So anyway, Lucy, I'll look forward to hearing back from you as to what you did so I can give you advice on what to do to get it actually on your phone. Pitchfork, it seems when I use the answer program, I have a hard time getting any answers. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Do you actually do the written instruction part as well? Or are you only doing the recording? Let me know, because most people are only doing the recording. And this is, I am not like a lot of other people out there. I am not adding components so I can bump up the price. If I have a system or even a mini system like the answer, every aspect is important. So Pitchfork, get back to me and let me know if you're actually doing the written aspect of this as well, or are you just listening to the recording? Because just listening to the recording is enough for many people, but it's not enough for everybody. And writing out what comes to your mind afterwards, immediately after, even if it's just gibberish, even if it's just scrawl, will help you to come up with the answer. It's also important to understand something about the answer. Everybody isn't going to get an answer right away. Sometimes, in order to do something or accomplish something, we need to learn. We need to expand our knowledge, our experience. And a lot of what the answer will help you to do is to take the steps necessary to figure out what you need to figure out in order to get that answer. So understand that getting an answer can be a process, and often is a process, not just light bulb over the head. Brian, my wife has Alzheimer's, and I'm curious if there's something I should consider and what that would involve. Actually, Brian, what I would suggest here, just give me a second. I'll see if I can get a link for you here. And just give me a second, folks. I'm just checking here. Okay. Copy. All right. I'm going to put a link in here now. Revitamind.com. You guys will see it there. My name is highlighted in yellow. Okay, so here's the basis. Revitamind.com will take you to a page, which is like a capture page, they call it. You put in your name and your email, and you get to download a special recording. Okay. Now, you'll also get put into a little sequence, which will take you to a special page eventually, maybe tomorrow or later today, where you can look at the Revitamind Ultra program. I have two versions of this system. What happened was a number of years ago, I created a system called Revitamind. And it's actually designed to help people with cognitive issues, not just seniors or Alzheimer's issues, but anything cognitive related. And interestingly enough, Dr. Dale Bredesen, he's in California, he discovered my work and wrote about it a little bit in his book, The End of Alzheimer's, by Dr. Dale Bredesen. And this book was on the New York Times bestsellers list for 9 months, something like that. At any rate, now I have doctors and clinicians all over the world prescribing this system, Revitamind and Revitamind Ultra, to their patients as an adjunct to help them stimulate neural activity and to be sharper, and to go hand in hand with other techniques, which include better diet, normally in the keto range, as well as other things like staying away from chemical products, scented products, things like that. So one thing I strongly suggest is to pick up his book. Go to Amazon or to Indigo or whatever the name of the online store is for books, and pick up The End of Alzheimer's. Here, I'll type it out for you. The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Dale Bredesen. Okay, so that's the name of the book. I strongly suggest you get that, but check out the link, revitamind.com. Again, it will take you It will take you to a special website where you can download a freebie that your wife can try, and also where you can check out Revitamind Ultra. Now, if you wanted a less intricate version, simplified version, not quite as effective because it is an earlier version, but it's been updated with a certain frequency baseline, then you can go to activemindsglobal.com. Now let me put a www in front of that so it makes it a link. activemindsglobal.com. And you can check out the I wonder why it didn't write it there. Let me see if I can remove that, and I can remove that, and let's try it this way instead. http://www.activemindsglobal.com. There you go. Created a link. So on that particular website is the original Revitamind with a subtle improvement in the base frequency. Then on the first link that I sent you for revitamind.com, that one actually will take you again to Revitamind Ultra. And you'll be able to read about it. But I've been getting a lot of really good results with it. A lot of people are very happy with it. And again, Revitamind Ultra is an upgraded version. It's got new information, new data that I didn't have in the original Revitamind. But there is a price difference. So if one price is better for you, best thing to do is to read the sales pages on both and make up your own mind. See where your brain leads you. So let's go back. Okay. Robert asks, okay, I'll bite. Why are earbuds? I like that. Why are earbuds a no-no? All right. This is why earbuds are a no-no. Very simply. I'd like by a show of hands, okay, no one can show me hands, but by yes or no, how many people think that they hear me now? So if you think you hear me, say yes. If you think you're not hearing me, say no. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Pardon me. 10 seconds to answer that. Da, 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 da. Okay, I told you I couldn't sing. So let me see if anybody has answered it all. Okay, here we go. Yes, 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 yes. Pitchfork says no. And you know what? Pitchfork, you win. Everybody who said yes, hate to break it to you, no one has ever heard me, ever. As a matter of fact, no living being, well, I can talk from a human perspective, no human being has ever heard anything. And I'll tell you why. Everything is vibration. So there's an old line to try to impress people that people used to say at parties, which basically went like this. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a noise? And people would answer, well, of course it makes a noise, or no, it doesn't. And then the second part of the question is, okay, now someone is there to hear it and the tree falls. Does it make a noise? And pretty much everyone always says yes. And the truth is it doesn't. And this is why. When a tree falls in the forest, when I'm moving my mouth and forcing air through my lungs and my throat and my vocal box, what's really happening is I'm producing a series of vibrations. Those vibrations are going into this microphone. It's processing those vibrations, and then it's transmitting them through this wire into my computer, which is then processing those vibrations and sending out electrical signals to your computer, to your phone, to your speaker, whatever you're using. And it's producing more vibrations. Then what happens is these vibrations get transmitted to your ear. And as long as there's connected tissue from the outer ear to the brain, what happens is these vibrations get sent to the brain through the auditory nerve and a whole slew of other neat things that goes on. And different parts of the brain go into action and interpret the signal, just like a TV. That's exactly like a TV works. That's exactly like a wired telephone works. That's exactly like your cell phone works. What it's doing is it is doing nothing more than transmitting a vibratory frequency, which your brain then interprets. And that's what we call sound. That's what we call hearing. There is no hearing, there is no sound. It is nothing but vibration, and that vibration gets interpreted. So if all of you could somehow record how you hear my voice, then you will all hear close to the same thing, because most of us have similar structures and our brains interpret vibration the same way, more or less. But it's unlikely that anybody is going to have exactly the same reproduction in my voice of what they hear. So what Joe is hearing is different from what Sally hears. What Lucy hears is different from what Pitchfork hears. Robert hears different from Donald. Jared hears different from Chris. So you don't hear anything. Now, can you figure out why earbuds with a little itty bitty bitty pinhead size membrane, if it's even a membrane, usually in an earbud, it's a metal plate or a plastic plate. Something so small just cannot produce the amplitude necessary, or I call it the power necessary, to create sufficient force in the vibratory pattern to create proper effects from entrainment. So whereas you can put on your earbuds, even if they're super expensive earbuds, and listen to AC/DC or listen to Nazareth or listen to, Michael Bublé or listen to Madonna or whoever you listen to, and to your mind, to your brain, to your ears, it may sound the same. It's different. With brainwave entrainment, it's the vibratory frequency that is causing the effect, not your perception of sound. So just because you have a perception of sound doesn't mean anything. That's why even if you have super expensive earbuds, they're still, garbage when it comes to brainwave entrainment. It doesn't matter. You need something that covers your ear, something with a large vibratory frequency or surface area. And that then can produce enough power in the frequency so that it can have an effect on the brain. Otherwise, brainwave entrainment really can't occur. Now, that being said, earbuds aren't terrible if you are finding out that you are incredibly sensitive to my technology. If you find it overpowering, even at a low volume, then earbuds might be the way to go to start with. Because earbuds, again, because they have such a small surface area and such a low amplitude in vibratory power, that would allow you to start getting accommodated, your brain to accommodate to this style of stimulation. And then you'd be able to graduate to over-the-ear headphones at a later date. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Okay. Donald, I tend to fall asleep while listening to the audios. Is it necessarily bad? Actually, and again, because the brain reacts to this vibration and not to what you're hearing, it's not important that you're consciously aware of it at all. So because of something called the frequency following response, and then what follows is the cortical evoked response, it doesn't matter if you're conscious or not conscious. Makes no difference at all. If you want to be awake for it, because a lot of people like how it feels, then just lie with your arm bent like this and your hand just over, kind of like a little dinosaur. So just like this while you're lying down. And if you start falling asleep, your arm will drop and that'll kind of wake you up. But it won't startle you awake, and that'll allow you to maintain the mood that you are developing, the state that you're developing with the recordings. Jared finds my subliminals extremely strong and impressive work. Thank you, Jared. To be honest with you, I put a lot of work into everything I do. I use science, my knowledge of neurology. Now, I'm not a doctor, okay, but I have studied extensively myself a lot of this stuff through research generally. I don't tend to read opinion. I like reading research because then I can kind of come up with my own opinion, as opposed to having a hero or someone that I follow specifically, because that can close your mind. I'd rather have my mind open to anything. And I like the fact that my mind grows and changes. That's why I finally, updated Revitamind, because I had new information and new knowledge that I didn't have when I first did it. That's why Quantum Mind Power turned into Quantum Mind Method, because I learned new things. And even though the originals in both cases are still very powerful and very good products, I enjoy working and developing and growing things. That's why I have my traditional subliminals, like my time warp subliminals, most of you would be aware of. But I also have brain prints, which are basically subliminalized triliminals. Because I don't see that there's any walls, I don't see that there's any way or any reason to limit myself in what I believe is possible. So, in my view, whatever I can imagine, I'm imagining for a reason. And if I'm imagining it for a reason, then it's possible. And even if at the moment that I imagined it, I'm like racking my brain going, come on, I can't figure this out. It doesn't matter, because what I'll do is I'll usually run a session. That's what I call lying down, eyes closed, comfortable volume and listening. So I'll run a session and I'll use my intuition to tell me which recording to listen to. And then I'll ask myself the question just once. And if I really have a hard time, I'll put on the answer and then I'll do the whole routine. And I'll tell you something. So far, I've always come up with an answer. Now, not always right away, but sometimes right away. But you shouldn't judge yourself based on how others act or react. I've had a lot of customers get depressed that they're not getting the same results that they're reading about in testimonials. Well, sometimes people will get results right away. Other times it takes time. But everybody is getting towards what they need right away. It's not like running a race where everybody starts, here, and the end of the race is here. Some people start here and here and here and here and here and up there and down here. So depending on where you're starting, it's going to be different for you. But if you stick with it and you listen as it's directed, there is no reason why you shouldn't be able to get similar results. Something else that keeps people away from results, interestingly enough, is that they will prefabricate in their minds, or preordain, if you will, what they will have to see as proof that they're improving or growing or gaining more understanding or more knowledge or more enlightenment. That's a mistake. Let me tell you that you don't know what's going to make you successful until after you're successful. Anyone who tries to tell you how to be successful and they're not successful, don't listen to them. And if you try to tell yourself how to be successful and you're not successful at anything, don't listen to you either. Trust your intuitions, trust your instincts. Listen and ask for what you need. But don't specifically ask for something, because you might be leading yourself in the wrong direction. Really important that you cannot, and I want to just reiterate this before I move on, you cannot know what you need until you've received it and it's shown you it's what you needed. Let me say that one more time in a different way. You cannot know, it's impossible for you to know what it is that you need until you've received it and learned that, hey, this works for me. This is what I needed. Now, some people might go, well, how the hell am I supposed to know what to do then? Well, what you do is you trust yourself. You don't listen to what other people say, or if you listen, you get inspired by it, and then you reinterpret it and reimagine it in your own frame of reference and reinterpret it, reformulate it, and then decide whether to act on it. If you still feel like acting on it, that's when you're likely to get results. Trust your head, your heart, and your gut. You can't see me holding my gut, but I am. So there are neurons, literal brain cells here, here, and here. That's why people go, I go with my gut feeling. That's why people say, I feel it in my heart, because you actually have thinking areas, neurons, brain cells there in all three locations. If all three agree, you're likely on the right path. If they don't agree, then you need to step back and think a little more. I hope that helps. Okay, let's see here. I need people to type more, although we've hit half an hour. So if it ends up ending, it ends. That's okay. Okay, Chris says, I don't quite have the money for the platinum triliminal package at the moment. Are there other options to purchase specific ones for a lesser price? Okay, if you want to purchase individual triliminals, I can send you a listing of what's available, or you can even choose from the recordings of the platinum triliminal package which ones you want. That might even be better. We do have a minimum of let's go for 3. We have a minimum of 3, but I have to tell you, the overall price will be cheaper, but the price per unit, the price per recording will be more expensive. So please understand that. It's kind of the Walmart principle or Costco principle. You will pay more per recording or per set of recordings than you would if you were buying the platinum or the gold system as far as triliminals are concerned. But if you just wanted a few, then yeah, pick a few, send me an email, say, hey, Morry, I'd like to purchase these 3 only. Can you please get your partner song to get back to me with a link and a price? And I will ask him to do so, and he will. So there you are. Okay, then Chris also asks, are there any triliminals specifically geared towards work and or study motivation? Okay, interestingly enough, one of the benefits to the platinum and even the gold series of the triliminal 2020 collections is that if you hold in your mind an intention, so for instance, you may want to hold work motivation as your intention, then hold that as your intention and look over all the topics that are available. And the ones that jump out at you, whether they are positive or negative, as a matter of fact, the ones that jump out and annoy you are probably even more important than the ones that jump out and feel good to you. But both are important. So the ones that jump out at you are the ones you need for that specific purpose. The nice thing about the platinum set, for instance, with 60 different sets of recordings, is that you have the ability, or 60 recordings, is that you have the ability to actually choose and create your own set of your own systems, really, for any purpose at all. You just hold your intention, you look, the ones that jump out at you are the ones that you create a system as. So I'll write down a list of 10 different topics from that set as an example. Or you might look through the list and you want to buy individuals. So maybe you're going to find 3 or 4 that jump out at you, and you want those 3 or 4. Now, if people actually have the platinum set or even the gold set, what they can do is they can do what you're going to do, but they also have the opportunity that down the line, let's say 2 months down the line, they feel like shifting is happening, but it needs to be adjusted. Well, they can hold the intention again, go over the list again, and re-pick recordings. So what that means is if they pick 10 originally, they may pick 12 this time, 8 of which are the same, 6 are different. Because your brain is changing and growing, and the needs are changing, and everything about it is changing. As a result, you are able to not only create your own system, because let's face it, you are your own guru. No one knows better than you what you need. So you're trusting your instinct by holding an intention and choosing the topics, but you can also adjust and fine tune your system throughout the process. And that's not available anywhere else. So hopefully that helps. So Brian says that Bredesen is pretty impressive. Yeah, he is, considering most of medical science will tell you that there is no cure for Alzheimer's. There is no treatment for Alzheimer's other than more or less medicines that dull the people out so much that it makes their caregivers feel better, not doing much for them. But I can tell you that Dr. Bredesen is an amazing guy. If you were around when I did my internal launch for Revitamind Ultra, you would have seen my 2-part interview with him. He was kind enough to allow me to interview him. And you get to learn a whole lot about Alzheimer's, a whole lot about what you can do. And it's, I've had some people who are concerned about cognitive decline who originally didn't watch it because they didn't want to have it brought to their attention. Sometimes people want to avoid things and resist them. And then they ended up watching, and they were so grateful because there was so much positive information there on what you need and what you can do to help yourself. And believe it or not, a lot of what can help you are things that you do for yourself. they don't come down to medicine, and they don't come down to exercises and other things. They come down to things you can do yourself. And it's just a matter of learning about them. Now, that doesn't mean you don't do traditional treatments, and it doesn't mean you don't do other things. But what it does mean is that you can augment all these things and have a better chance at much better results. Okay, Valerie, I am a coach working with the Bredesen protocol patients, and it's been helpful to several of them as well. Thank you for the feedback, Valerie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I can tell you that I don't have any signs of cognitive decline. And honestly, I'm not sure whether I would anyway, but I can tell you that I am much sharper than I would be otherwise just by using these recordings myself. And especially in the Revitamite Ultra version, there is something called the cortical cleaner, which those of you who want can go to the Revitamite website, give your name and email, and you will get led on a nice little travel with information and knowledge, and you'll learn about the cortical cleaner. It's a visual entrainment aspect that has been proving very valuable for a lot of people. So thank you, Valerie, for sharing that feedback. It's very fulfilling. It's very nice to hear. I'm a scientist, so I kind of know that this stuff's going to help. I wouldn't release it if my beta testing didn't show it helping people. But it's always nice when something gets out in the wild, as they say, to get the feedback and see that when people are using it regularly, they can get really good benefits. And keep in mind, and make no mistake, yeah, I feel good knowing I created a tool that can help. But when someone uses something and they use it properly and consistently, they are the ones who get all the credit, not me. I made a hammer, I made a saw, I made a paintbrush. But in and of itself, a hammer, a saw, and a paintbrush can't do anything. It has to be picked up and it has to be used in order to create something. And in all of my products, in all of my manuals, there is one thing that I never add to the manual. And it's funny because it's not maybe, it is definitely the most important module of any of my systems and any of my products. It's you. When you use it properly, your brain is being affected by your action. You are truly in control, and you truly are doing what is necessary to help yourself. I create a tool. You want to say, thank you, Morry, go ahead. I'm happy to say you're welcome. But ultimately, give yourself more thanks and give yourself a lot more gratitude, because my work is garbage if it's sitting on a hard drive and not being used. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, Valerie, not like headphones. Okay, I'm assuming you're making a comment when I was on my diatribe about earbuds. Let's see here. Matt D'Ambrosio, vibrations to the bones around your ears. Not just that, it's all tissue vibrates, Matt. Every tissue in the world vibrates. I'm currently working on 18 different techniques, styles, forms of stimulation that are, this is why it takes me a while to come out with new stuff, because I like, when I get an idea and an inspiration, I move on it. And then I get inspired to move on to something else, and then something else, and then something else. And then I come back to this and I come back to that. And this is how I work. I think it's great because it keeps me fresh and it keeps my mind active and it keeps my mind working and going and going and going. A lot of people say they get confused when they have a lot of things to do. With me, it actually calms my mind because I know that I'm not likely to get writer's block. And even if I do, writer's block or thinker's block or creator's block, but if I do, there's always a different direction I can go in that unsticks me. Just like if you get stuck in a divot in the ground in your car. If you rock the car, if you turn the wheel, you'll get traction and be able to get out. I find that working on many different things all at once allows me the opportunity to turn my wheels and be unstuck. As a matter of fact, I can't remember the last time I was stuck. And when I used the answer. I used other recordings. I asked a question and I got an answer anyway. So this is not a secret, folks. You guys and girls can do this easily yourselves too. If you want to know a little bit about my history, I can certainly get into that too during this call, but only if you ask. But it's quite a story, which lets you know how I got to where I am with all this and how I will continue to get more and more and more. Okay, it looks like we're nearing the end of the questions, so please feel free to type. But again, I am more than happy to end this when the questions are done if you folks want me to. That's my pleasure. But feel free to ask more questions. So, I do want to mention nobody's asked yet, but this is recorded as it's on YouTube. It'll take 5 minutes or so to render after I'm done, and then it will start being available from my channel. So, in the emails we sent you about this talk, basically what happened is you get one link for today's talk or today's chat, and then underneath it there's a link where you can go to sign up, and you'll get notified by YouTube as well. If you somehow get off my email list, YouTube will send you a little notice. By the way, the Morry method is going to be doing this thing soon, and you'll be able to join in that way. But it automatically records this and puts it there. So you'll be able to check back on this if there's something I said. I don't like people feeling like they have to take notes or anything. So Valerie has another question. Can I listen while doing other things like making breakfast, cleaning, mundane tasks? Okay, yes, you can. Don't do anything potentially dangerous, though. So if you're making breakfast by a stove, or especially a gas stove or electric stove or anything like that, I wouldn't listen while you're doing that, because I don't want you to get into altered state enough, or a normal state more accurately, and perhaps lose your concentration and put yourself in danger of a burn or something worse even. That being said, I would only do that, listening while doing other things, if it is augmented listening. That means that if you're going to be listening 2 or 3 times a day for effect, listen properly, laying down, eyes closed, comfortable volume, stereo, over the ear, ordinary headphones. If you want to listen more, you can augment those results by listening with distractions. But please keep in mind, what we are doing here is brainwave entrainment. That means that there's a reason why I want you lying down or sitting with head support. There's a reason why I want your eyes closed. There's a reason why I want the volume comfortable. I want to block out as many extraneous stimuli as possible, because the more you have, the less effect this will have. That being said, because of something called muscle memory, and I do treat the brain as a muscle, then even listening distracted, as long as you're listening properly and consistently and enough properly in the proper way, you will be able to still get effects and augment your results. But don't, sacrifice proper listening to listen in that manner, because it will slow the results quite a bit. That being said, if that's all you can do on a specific day, then that's all you can do. It's better than nothing. Valerie, sorry I've come in late. Don't worry, Valerie. If there's anything you missed, you can always check it out on the replay that will be up there shortly. Jared, Neural Learn versus Quantum Mind 2.0, which I have. Great system. Very so far. Thank you. So, Jared, I'm not exactly sure what you mean by versus Quantum 2.0, which I have. Great system. Neural Learn Plus is specifically designed for students. Now, when I say students, that doesn't mean teenagers or in their 20s. It means anyone wanting to learn anything. It's specifically designed to help produce certain neurochemistry in your brain that allows for the formation of memories easier than not. So Neural Learn Plus is specifically designed to help learning and understanding. The Quantum Mind Method 2.0 is based from the original Quantum Mind Power, which is a generalized self-improvement system that believes you already know what you need. And it allows you to kind of unlock the doors to that knowledge, and allows you the energy and the gumption to go ahead and develop all of that. So, as I was alluding to before, sometimes people will set a goal for themselves, and because they think they know what they will need in order to be successful at whatever endeavor they want to, tackle. My view is, if you look back at your history, I would say more than 9 out of 10 times you've been wrong. And again, I don't know how anyone can honestly believe they know what they need if they don't already have it and haven't already proved to themselves that that's what they needed in the first place. I believe that on an unconscious level and even a subconscious level, you know what you need. But your conscious mind is too cluttered with the BS around us, the news, the advertising, the marketing, everybody around you telling you what you need. That is what gets in the way of your consciousness. That's why it's a mistake, I think, to use information that comes from without to help you be satisfied within. The information that you need is within to make you satisfied within. It's simply a matter of finding it. That's what Quantum Mind Method is about. If you have specific issues with respect to learning that you want to attack, then definitely NeuroLearn Plus is a great way to go on top of Quantum Mind Power. Now, for those of you who have more than one of my systems, and some of you have a few of them, I don't want you to get overwhelmed thinking, well, how do I listen to all of these recordings? The best way to do it, once you've given each system a proper, at least month, I would say. So if you had 3 systems, I would give each system primarily a month on its own, or at least with focus. If I had more time to do, let's say I'm doing Quantum Mind Method now, and I had more time, then I could add other recordings as well, but not at the expense of Quantum Mind Method for the first month or so. Once I'm done with those months, though, so let's say I have 3 products: Quantum Confidence, Quantum Mind Method, and NeuroLearn Plus. Well, I would then spend 3 months doing each one for a month mainly, and then move up from there. Okay. Then I would use my intuition to just pick whatever recording I feel like listening to. The important thing is to listen consistently. So you might be inspired to listen to Quantum Mind Method on Monday, Quantum Confidence on Tuesday, and NeuroLearn Plus on Wednesday, and then keep rotating daily. You might be inspired to do it on a 2-day rotation basis, or a 3-day, or a weekly. I'll do NeuroLearn Plus for this week, then I do Quantum Mind Method for a week, and then I do Quantum Confidence for a week. So, you can figure out what works best for yourself. You are your own guru. You are the scientist here. I give you a starting point. Once you've listened properly for a month, your brain and your mind kind of gets a feel for what it can get and what it might need out of each recording and out of each system. Once you've listened the way you're listening, like, you can be like me. With me, I don't listen to any one particular system anymore, except when I develop a new one. Then I give it a month. But otherwise, I just pick a recording. And I pick whatever comes to my mind at the time, because I trust that my unconscious mind is going to guide me to what I need. As a matter of fact, before I came on this call, I was listening to Eden Energy Wave Dynamics Isochronics 1 from the Quantum Mind Method. And I also listened to the second recording in the targeted mini system on anxiety, believe it or not. I don't feel anxious, but my intention drew me to the mini spoken word triliminal for anxiety. So I listened to it. Now I feel fantastic, but I didn't think I felt anxious. I may not have even felt anxious at all, but my unconscious led me to that recording. I listened to that recording. I know better than to judge. I don't judge anymore. I just do what my instincts tell me. And so far, so good. What can I tell you? So far, so good. Okay. VW GAN, the Morry Vibration Show, TMV, TMVS. I like how that sounds. Thank you. Robert, my Skull Candy headphones just delivered today. Looking forward to my good vibrations tonight. Yeah, I actually have a pair of Skull Candy too. I've got a bunch of different ones. I'm sure you can all understand. And they're totally normal. Nothing fancy about them at all. But looking forward to it. Now, one thing, if you do get headphones that have like noise canceling or bass boosting, no problem. When you're listening to your music, go for it, have fun. But when you're listening to my recordings, make sure everything's flat. Okay, so if there's an EQ, you flatten it out. If there's bass boosting, you turn it off. If there's noise limiting, you turn it off. You can listen with all these things if you want, but I have certain frequencies embedded and they're balanced. as well. So if you listen and your listening device is doing anything to my music at all, well, music to my recordings at all, then there's a possibility they could be interacting poorly with what I have embedded. You're always best to just listen to it the way I've recorded it. And like I said, with triliminals, especially with triliminals, you may notice one channel is stronger than the other. That's always intended. Okay, so don't worry about it. Everything in life is vibration, Einstein. Yeah, him and Tesla, my two faves. So there you go. Merdad, nice to see you. Hi, Morry. You helped me in early 2010 with a few recordings, and they changed my life. I have to start listening to them again. Do you suggest I start with the binaural recordings? Actually, the last thing in the world, Merdad, I would suggest you to listen to is binaural recordings. For those of you that don't know, I have never used binaural recordings in any of my work. If, Merdad, you are using binaural recordings from someone else, I cannot advise you. If you're using my recordings, I assure you they are not binaural in nature. So if you want to tell me what you have, I'll be able to clarify for you what I think. But right now, I would have to assume if you're using binaural recordings, they're not mine. So there you go. Okay, it looks like we only have a few questions left. So Merdad, you better type fast. Valerie, one of the things we stress in coaching is taking agency for our own health. Very smart idea. This is a way of doing just this. When one feels empowered, mindset is shifted, and the body's ability to heal is enhanced. Very nicely put. I'm going to read that again for everyone. And by the way, if any of you have helpful thoughts like what Valerie just shared, please type them out here, okay? I'd love to read them to everybody so they can all hear. And even people who aren't on this webinar right now, well, it's not really a webinar, but on this call right now, they'll be able to have an opportunity to do the same, to listen to this. So if you're inspired to share some wisdom, go for it. Okay, again from Valerie. One of the things we stress in coaching is taking agency for our own health, taking responsibility, taking agency. I love that. This is a way of doing just that. When one feels empowered, mindset is shifted and the body's ability to heal is enhanced. By the way, what she is saying isn't just beautiful prose, it's true. There's tons of evidence and studies to prove that people with a better attitude and a happier outlook on life live longer, are stronger, recover faster, heal better and more completely than people who have a negative outlook on life. The beautiful thing about properly engineered entrainment, such as what I do, because I honestly cannot say other entrainment out there is properly engineered. The ones I have checked out, and I'm not going to get into bashing other people, so I won't say who, are not properly engineered. They are binaural in nature or have other issues. But, that being said, the way you feel, and this will help add time so people can actually type more questions if they want. How you feel is a function of your neural chemistry. Your neural chemistry is a function of two possible things, your thoughts and the frequencies around you, i.e. brainwave entrainment. So what that means is that if you come home from a walk and your wife or husband or doggy is there, or kitty or fish or whatever, and they make you feel warm inside, that's because you've decided to feel warm inside. So your brain creates chemistry. And that chemistry is what allows you to feel warm inside. If you're angry, something happens, a stimulus happens that makes you decide to feel angry. That creates a neurochemical reaction, which allows you to feel angry. If you're turned on or aroused, same thing. Stimulation, decision, chemistry that allows you to feel what you've decided to feel. This is why we feel. This is why we think the way we do. This is why we react the way we do. Because we decided on some level, in some terms, that decision creates neurochemistry through creating neural activity. So it's the thought creates the activity creates the chemistry creates the feeling. And that all happens like that. That's what happens. That's why it happens. So When we do these things, we can literally change how we feel. We can change how we think, because a lot of our habitual thinking puts us into a cycle. Negative thinking creates negative feelings. Negative feelings create more negative thinking. All of these things create more negative chemistry. I couldn't get myself out of my depression, but I was able to alter the resulting chemistry, which led to my depression. By subtly altering that chemistry, I believe what happened was it changed how I was thinking and perceiving everything around me. And that opened my eyes to the fact that things can change. And that created more positive chemistry than negative chemistry. And I sit before you today. So that's a good point you brought up, Valerie, because it inspired me to explain to people why they feel what they feel. Many people just kind of accept it. They think it just is the way it is. There's always an explanation. Everything has an explanation for how it works. Magic is science that hasn't been explained yet. That's all it is. Doesn't mean magic doesn't exist. It just means that once we understand magic, we can make it. Isn't that an empowering feeling? I just got a rush. So think about that. Once we understand the dynamics of how magic works, then we can use it to create more magic. Wow. Isn't that great? And it's true. It is so, so true. So I'm not trying to take magic out of the equation. I'm just trying to explain to you that magic can be explained. And when we look at things and when we question things, which is maybe the best quality of human beings, that we question things. We're supposed to question things anyway, not just listen to our leaders, not just listen to the professionals, not just listen. And look, even what I'm saying, don't just take it for truth. If it resonates with you, do what I suggested to you do earlier. If it resonates, if anything I've said resonates with you, take it within yourself. Let it inspire you to think about it within your own frame of reference, your own terms. Reinterpret it, reimagine it, reinvent it so that it's yours. And then, and only then, if you're inspired to take action on it, do so. That is the secret sauce that's missing from everybody's products out there. I think everybody, including all the big time authors and course givers, need to put a disclaimer in the front of everything they do. Look, I can only be an expert in my own life. And even then, I don't know how much of an expert I personally am, but nobody can be an expert in anybody's life but their own. No one can be a guru to anybody but themselves. It doesn't matter who they are, how popular they are, how famous they are, how wealthy they are. It doesn't matter. If Tony Robbins gave you a blueprint, an outline, explaining exactly what you need to do to be successful, and you followed it to the letter, you'd fail. You're not Tony Robbins. You're not 7 feet tall. You don't have giant white teeth. You don't have a nice big smile. You have a big smile, but it's not gigantic like his is. You don't have the parents that he had. You don't have the religious background, if any, that he had. You don't have the teachers that he had. You don't have the friends that he had. You didn't have anything that he had. You're not the same person. As a result, what he says, what any of these experts say, can only be taken as an inspiration. And when they are, you need, again, reimagine, reinvent, and then take action. Only then. I wish they would all put this little disclaimer at the front and at the back of everything they teach, because sometimes people are so authoritative that other people just listen and they believe, and they think if they fail, they're failing because it's their fault. They didn't try hard enough. They didn't concentrate hard enough. They're not worthy enough. That is BS. That is 100% BS. You are worthy enough. You are smart enough. You are everything enough. You just need to follow yourself, not others. And systems like what I designed, and remember, I said the most important module in any of my systems and in all of my systems is you. You are the most important. It's your brain being stimulated. It's you using it to stimulate your brain. You are the cure. You are the enlightenment. You simply are. Okay, I'll get off my milk box now. Matt, can you explain the difference between binaural and isochronic? Don't remember the correct spelling. No, you're fine. Okay. First of all, binaural beats are useless. My personal opinion, which I can back up with tons of science, by the way. So here's the deal. Binaural beats are the result of two solid tones. So say in my left ear, I have a tone that sounds like this. And in my right ear, I have a tone that sounds like this. So you can hear they're subtly different. Let's say they were 5 hertz different. Your brain would perceive that difference as which is my approximation of what 5 hertz might be. 5 hertz signifies how many times the pulse rate pulses on and off every second. Okay, so if you go 1,001, that's a second. That's about 5 a second. So that's what a binaural beat does. Isochronic tones or even monaural tones occur outside the head. So with a binaural beat, if you go like this and you're hearing ba ba ba, I'll show you what happens when you take a headphone away with a binaural beat. Ba 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 ba. Okay, that's a binaural beat. For entrainment to occur properly and significantly, the tone has to occur outside the brain, outside the ear, not inside the brain. So listening to an isochronic tone might sound like this. There's no difference because the tone is originating outside. Now, if you were to imagine the flow of energy, it kind of goes like this. This is a say an isochronic or a monaural tone. See, it goes up real high, it goes down real low. This would be the power effectiveness of a binaural beat. Very insignificant. It barely moves. The power differential is not even worth talking about in the same argument. Binaural beats can be used as a diagnostic tool. As a matter of fact, if people have a binaural beat going on in their head with 2 headphones and they don't hear the ba, they hear the tones instead, that signifies there's a communication error going on between the 2 hemispheres. They can be relaxing, distracting, disassociative, and that's good. But that's the same thing, more or less, as listening to a recording of birds chirping or waves crashing on the shore. They really don't have any purpose. It's a flawed science where entrainment didn't start, but the science of entrainment started many moons ago with binaural beats. Binaural beats can be used, or binaural technology anyway, can be used to localize voices. So you could literally use binaural technology to beam a voice into someone's head at a distance, and the guy next to them wouldn't hear it. You could literally make them think they're crazy by putting a voice in their head. So binaural beats have purposes, but none of them, in my opinion, are entrainment. So there you go. I hope that gives you an example of what the difference between binaural, which, by the way, you spell binaural B-I-N-A-U-R-A-L. I spell it G-A-R-B-A-G-E. So there you go. Okay. That being said, if you like it, who am I to argue with you? If it helps you, it helps you. I'm happy that it's doing some good. Okay. It looks like we're running out of questions. So I'm going to answer this last one. And if nothing else pops up, I'm going to call it a day, I suppose. Mary says, hi, everyone. Looking good. Thank you. Yes, I'm growing my hair back. I was actually supposed to be going on a trip to Europe next month. Obviously, in light of everything that's going on, I'm not. But when I was going to go, my wife didn't want me spending an hour every day shaving my head to make it look nice. So I let it grow, and now I'm just too relaxed to bother shaving it again. So there you go. So, Merdad, thank you. Ha ha ha. I have Eden Energy Wave, Neural Synergy recordings. Also, good night, sleep well. So it sounds like you have the original quantum mind power, Merdad. What I suggest you do is definitely use those, but you may want to look also at the new version of quantum mind power, which is called the quantum mind method. And you can find it at this link. I'm just going to send it to you now. Quantum mind method.com. Just give me a second because I'm going to try to get you directly into the site. So copy. Just give me a sec if you don't mind, please. /. Okay, just 1 second. I'm just confirming. Copy quantum mind. Ooh, apparently I don't know how to spell method. Okay, let's try this again. Copy, enter. And yes, that does work. So I'm going to copy and paste that in, paste it in, enter. Okay, so I would suggest you check out that link as well, because that link shows you the fully updated version of QMP, now known as Quantum Mind Method. Oh, Gene says you look good with hair, Morry. Well, I look good with what hair I have. A friend of mine, I was on a call, a group call with some friends of mine from my university days, and it was really funny because they were used to seeing me with with the bald head because I kind of liked it. I've been wanting to shave my head since I was like 19 years old, but everybody kept saying, "Oh, you have such nice hair. Why are you doing that?" Anyway, I was laughing because they were all used to me bald now, and then they saw me like this, and you can see that I have hair here, but it's not long enough to really show anything yet. And they were all talking about how it reminded them of that Seinfeld. I don't know how many of you ever watched Seinfeld, but there was an episode where this guy had a full head of hair. He shaved his head for a few years. And when he was going out with Elaine, Jerry's friend, she said, "Oh, grow your hair back, grow your hair back." And when he grew it back, he had hair at the sides, but nothing up top. So all my friends were reminded of that. I'm glad I could give them a laugh. Okay. So let's see here. Chris is saying, "Thanks for your time, Morry. Any headphones you would recommend specifically?" Chris, I don't like suggesting headphones to people. I think they should just be comfortable and inexpensive because you're not blasting heavy metal and you're not trying to pick out 45 instruments in a classical recording. So just $15, $20 headphones off of Amazon. Ordinary, I suggest wired headphones as opposed to Bluetooth because Bluetooth connections can often give artifacts as far as noises and clicks that aren't there, and that will get in the way. If you do get Bluetooth headphones, or if you have them, usually they have a wired option too. You can plug in a wire or unplug it. I suggest you use a wire when you're listening so the sound is pure and clean. Again, no noise limiting, no no noise canceling, no anything at all that affects the sound as opposed to what I've done to it. Just let me handle all the sound balancing and changes that need to happen. So, Merdad, thanks, Morry. My pleasure. Chris again. Missed a bit of this session earlier. Sorry if it was covered already. No problem. I don't mind repeating myself. There's always a reason for everything. Okay. It looks like we have one more comment / question. We've been going about an hour and 12 minutes, almost 13. I'm happy to end the call, but I'm also happy to keep it going. So if any of you have questions, by the time I finish this and you haven't finished like the next comment, if you haven't finished typing, just hit enter right away. Just that way I know you're there. And I'll give you time to finish your question up. So Daniel says, "The vibrations of your recordings remind me of the noise of the engine of my great-grandfather's old fishing boat. It also has a positive effect on me." Cool. That's nice to hear. Thank you, Daniel. It's funny how sound, a lot of people equate these recordings to the sound of a helicopter, as a matter of fact, as well, which is kind of funny because what they're noticing the background noise is going. Normally, the background noise is shh, and then you have the pulse rate, ba, 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 and they're overlaying each other. So let me just buy a little time if anyone wants to write a little more and explain what you're actually hearing. So when you hear kind of like that helicopter noise, the sound instead of shh, what is happening is your ear is not recovering fast enough. So other people will hear the recording and they'll hear shh unbroken in the background. They'll also hear whoop. They'll also hear ba 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 ba. Now others will hear both sounds, but right after the ba sound, the tone, the entrainment tone, right after that tone, they will hear kind of like a break in the background noise too. And that's simply the ear recovering. And older people sometimes will notice that, or people with damaged hearing to some degree, say kids who've been listening to their rock music too loud or whatever. When I listen to my recordings, I don't hear the whoosh, 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 whoosh. I hear the solid tone, which is funny because I used to go to rock concerts and sit in fourth row center all the time. So I'm kind of interested as to why I didn't lose that ability. But at any rate, it's not really a helicopter. It's not really sounding like that. That's just a fragment. That's just a sign that your hearing has something going on with it. You may want to get tested. It's not dangerous. It doesn't mean you're going to go deaf or anything, but it's something interesting anyway. So that's why sometimes people will hear the whoosh, 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 as opposed to just a shh. Okay, so let's see here. So, Daniel, quick question for you. When you think of your great grandfather's old fishing boat, does it bring a smile to your face? My feeling is it does. So, is there anybody else with any other questions or comments or even concerns? I'm going to try to do this every month, usually around the third week of every month. For anyone who might need the help, who might be too shy to call me personally and ask for my help, if you have any other questions, please hit enter right away now, or tap the little airplane thingy to send the message to me. That way I will know that you are there and that you still have questions. Now I'm just going to count backwards from 10 and do a very quick little mini meditation. By the end of that little mini meditation, if there are no more questions, I'll just say goodbye and namaste. So, if you're in a place where it's safe to do so, please close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it for as long as is comfortable. And then when you release it slowly and pay attention to it coming out gently and softly. 9. As you breathe in and out, I want you to pay attention to your breathing. Pay attention to the rise and fall of your abdomen or your chest. If it is your chest rising and falling, I want you to gently move it to your abdomen. When we breathe from our upper chest, we're breathing from a place of stress. When we breathe from our abdomen, it may not look as good, but it definitely feels good. 8. Notice as you get deeper and feel more comfortable in your own skin. 7. As you go deeper and feel more and more relaxed, I invite you to imagine anything that puts a smile on your face. It can be anything at all. It can be something real. It can be something you create in your mind's eye. 7. You're going even deeper now. You're feeling light and you're feeling heavy. And you may even be losing track as to what number we're on, like I have right now. 6. As my body and my mind reach out to each other, I smile at the peaceful feeling we're all creating together. 5. Our conscious, our subconscious, and unconscious minds are but one. Words do not change that. They are never at odds with each other because they are indeed the same thing. So from this point forward, we agree not to imagine conflict where none exists. 4, we are generating insights that are unique unto ourselves. These are insights that may come to you now or flash into your mind later. Regardless, we are grateful. 3, now we begin to move back to a more present presence in the now, understanding that we naturally live in the now, whether we realize it or not. 2, closer to our previous state, while still maintaining the effects and the feelings of where we're coming from. Knowing that simply thinking of being back here will take us back anytime and any place we may need it. 1, we're back. We are whole. We are. Okay. There you go. We're done. I hope you enjoyed that. I have no idea where that came from. Lately, I've been inspired to end these types of things and even webinars with a little inspired, short, guided meditation. Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, everybody. Chris, Merdad, Jean, Mary, Matt. Let's see. VW, gone. Robert, Jared. I'm sorry I can't pronounce this name. The characters don't match in the English language. Raymond, Mark with a C. Pitchfork, Robert, Donald, everybody who has been here and who will see this at a later time, at a later date. I want to thank you all for being here, and I hope I provided some helpful information about the Morry method, about myself, and about yourself, so that hopefully you come out of this with a better understanding as to how you think, what you think, why you think. And with this understanding, you're better able to cope and to help others around you cope. You know, we're all living in an interesting time now. And there's a lot of things that people would call bad going on around us. A lot of experiences that either we have directly or indirectly felt that we would define more normally than not as bad. But I encourage you to look at everything as a lesson, because when we think of something as bad, we back away from it. When we think of something as a lesson, we tend to listen and we tend to learn. I'm Morry Zelkovich. I want to thank you again, and I'll look forward to seeing you next month. Until then, I'm here for you. Bye for now.